and Dad met in college. They fell in love. They had a beautiful wedding, except love did not last, and soon came divorce. I felt stuck in the middle.
During divorce, children are often confused and are left to wonder what's in store for their future.
Astonishingly, an estimated 40 million American families are living apart. Divorce is considered a traumatic event because of its uncontrollable and unpredictable behavior. It is considered as traumatic as the death of a parent. Anxiety and stress are often experienced through the long process. The average length of divorce precedes a year.
We interviewed Natalie Elkin, a registered marriage and family intern. She explained some of the effects of divorce on children.
Will be better off. But unfortunately, it's probably more often than not the case that one parent disappears or really just is removed from the child's life and the child only sees them, once a month, let's say, or 1 week in a month, as opposed to being used to seeing them every day, or parents want to get back at one another and they use the child to do that. So all of those sort of power plays really can damage the child. So, so I would say really it just depends. It depends on how focused the parents are on doing what's best for the child.
After surveying the AP US history class at Granite Bay High School, we concluded that 17% of these students come from a divorced family. Of that 17%, 33% said they felt guilt, 60% felt sadness, 80% felt stress, and 33% felt relief.
Children of all ages go through a lot during divorce. From confusion to anger to sadness, it's like a crazy roller coaster for all ages.
Children of divorced parents are 3 times as likely to get divorced.
Even though infants cannot fully understand their parents' situation, they can still sense conflict. Preschool-age children often feel guilty and have abandonment issues. Parents forget their kids are aware of the situation even though they seem naive.
Children who showed the most distress at the time of the divorce were preschoolers. Surprisingly, preschoolers were the better adjusted 10 years later than the older children.
Kids sometimes feel forced to choose one parent over the other. They tend to do this by labeling one parent as the good parent and the other parent as the bad parent.
For all ages, common occurrences are low self-esteem, anger, difficulty in school, and anxiety. Coping is determined on how the parents deal with the situation. Boys often become more aggressive and disobedient, and it is easier to cope with a new step-parent. Girls experience anxiety and withdrawal, and it's harder for them to adjust to a new step-parent.
School-age children understand they can't control the divorce. They often feel resentment and abandonment. Kids are often more emotional. Among everything, they have hope in their parents reuniting. At this age, they have the perception that parents should stay together.
We interviewed 2 students to see how they were affected by divorce.
Your guys' relationship change at all because of the divorce?
Yeah, I thought my sister was a mom when I was at my dad's house because I didn't have a mom with me. Yeah, I ended up acting a lot older when I was over at my dad's house, just because she acted like I was like her mom, and so I grew up a little bit faster.
The sleeper effect is an occasion mainly occurring in women where they face decisions about relationships. Females fear they will repeat their parents' mistakes and lose trust in long-lasting relationships. Individuals of divorce don't want to marry someone like their parents. In a 10-year study, psychologists found a pattern of children trying to take the role of the parent during the divorce. Since parents are often busy, they start to depend on their child more and more. The child's duty becomes comforting the parent. Studies show emotionally disturbed parents in their marriage produce similar problems in their children. Although it may seem to be only a negative thing, divorce has its positives as well.
Large numbers of children are spared serious problems because of divorce. Children are taken out of situations with parents arguing and causing drama. In fact, children show signs of greater trouble in school years before the divorce. Children in conflicted homes were just as likely to have difficulties in school, attitude problems, and get divorced themselves as divorced children.
Victims of a divorce learn to walk away from unhealthy relationships because they've learned firsthand. They develop a clear understanding of relationships. Many kids with divorced parents have experience with meeting and learning to live with new people, an important skill most people don't have to learn until college or their first job. Divorce also teaches children to adapt to new and challenging living situations.
Years ago, it was less common or less talked about, so there was sort of a stigma about divorced families, and so kids who were products of divorce, they might feel, might affect self-esteem, or they may feel different, or like there's something wrong with their family, that sort of thing. So I think just sort of culturally, as a reaction to divorce, kids would be affected that way. But it's so much more the norm now that it's often the case that kids feel like they can relate to most of their peers, some if not most of their peers, because they've had the same experience. So I think it's been normalized and it's not stigmatized as much as it has been in the past.
Children from single-parent homes, if supported, are no more likely to drop out of school than children from intact families.
The expectation and stigma on how divorce affects children is heartache and pain. Although some children need psychological help after divorce, a greater majority can overcome and continue on with life.
A special thanks goes out to Natalie Elkin, Hope and Noelle Larson, and Aiden Sanchez for making this project possible.